In this episode of the Smarter Artist Show.
Which is for those of you who don't know Dave lore, that's one of the best. So Dave was supposed to write some story. It was basically like kind of a version of Thinner, where he gets cursed and bad things keep happening to him. And this is backstory. This isn't even one of the bad things that happened to him. I'm like, well, we need a reason that his marriage fell apart, because he was basically like having an extramarital affair, which is why he gets cursed. And we needed a reason for it. So in a story meeting, I tell Dave, we need a reason for this. Okay, I get a draft back like 2 days later, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, what the actual fuck, Dave?
Once upon a time, 3 writers helped crack open the indie publishing world. Then they rode into the sunset, building bigger stories, taking bigger swings, and learning what actually lasts when the noise dies down. Now the band is back together, older, sharper, and uninterested in shortcuts. This is the Smarter Artist Show with Sean Platt, Johnny B. Truant, and David W. Wright. It's the same 3 voices you know, talking about the craft and commerce of storytelling, from the work they're creating to the TV shows and movies they can't stop thinking about. Shop talk for artists playing the long game in a creative world that never slows down. If you've been here since the early days, welcome back. If you're new, pull up a chair. You're listening to the Smarter Artist Show. Let's get into it.
Hello and welcome to the Smarter Artist, Episode 9, Reclaiming Your 1,000 True Fans. I'm your host, David Wright, along with my co-hosts Sean Platt and Johnny B. Truant. This is Episode 9, and in age, I fucked it up. That's okay. Glad we're not live. All right.
With some pretty sexy, smooth voice, though, let me tell you.
I know. Oh, that's so funny that you're saying that. I was going to ask you, do you like Dave's sexy
All getting boned
voice?
up over here.
I hate my voice on these.
Well, let me tell you, let's settle down for a nice little jazz ensemble.
Hello and welcome.
You have to cut none of this out.
None of it.
You sound like Badger from, is that his name on Breaking Bad? Is it Badger?
I don't remember. All right. The intro.
Oh, he's doing it again? Okay, I got to fuck with you again then.
In an age dictated by algorithms and AI, it's never been more important to connect authentically with people, to stand out as a human in a sea of content. Whether you're just starting out or, like us, you're rebuilding, this episode is all about reclaiming your 1,000 true fans. We're going to talk about how many authors treat readers like booty calls, with newsletters that are the equivalent of a late-night text. You up?
Wow.
I like Johnny. I wish that you still had that little board that captured things that Dave said, because
What's that? I'm taking off my pants over here.
I mean, Dave saying booty calls in his sexy voice, I think is
Got the booty
Dave,
calls.
Dave, Dave, when you
Bring that booty over here.
when you inevitably make your AI clone, are you going to have it just say booty call to yourself? Are you going to have
When Dave can make his AI clone, we're never going to see him again.
Is that
Yeah.
true, Dave? Will your AI clone show up in your stead?
Yes, it will. Maybe it already is.
I
I hate my voice. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
I like your voice, Dave.
The AI clone's going to start like spending all this time with his wife and son. It's like a Black Mirror.
Oh my God, Dave's been writing that same exact story. There was a version of that as a Dark Crossings a long time ago, but it was really like fanfic for the life he wanted to live.
You talking about autopilot?
Yes, I am. I mean, he put a horror spin on it, but he was also like, wouldn't it be
also
cool?
like life.
Oh my God. We were on a call the other day with someone brainstorming ideas for a book, and Dave met his like spiritual soulmate. It was 2 people who were just basically like prophesying like doom and gloom and like robots taking over the world and health insurance companies canceling everybody's insurance, and Dave contributed heavily to the conversation because he knows
Do you tell
how to
the
make
story
everything work.
about the tractor trailer carrying the heavy spool of steel that fell off onto a family and crushed them?
No, but I think it.
I may have
just
heard that
really
at a
crossed the
cheery
line.
cocktail party once.
Are you talking about the story that I told?
Yes. You
Well, it wasn't
told
a whole family. It was one man, although he had
That's less
just
dark.
had a child. And
Oh,
I
okay.
was the first one on the scene, me and my friend that were driving. Yeah, it was absolutely horrifying.
You guys have to know we had this this very exuberant, excitable friend named James, and I was talking to James and his wife and just having a lovely time, and Dave dark clouded over and then told that story, and it was like somebody just farted, and it was so bad. Everybody wanted to go slit their wrists.
But nobody did, so my mission failed.
I got to revisit one of my very favorite Dave stories yesterday. So we're doing Dave has an older nonfiction book called Into the Darkness that's about like
Of course.
writing your fears, and I mean, it's like one paragraph in and it's about the dead baby on Christmas, which is for those of you who don't know Dave lore, that's one of the best. So Dave was supposed to write some story. It was basically like kind of a version of Thinner, where he gets cursed and bad things keep happening to him, and this is backstory. This isn't even one of the bad things that happened to him. I'm like, well, we need a reason that his marriage fell apart, because he was basically like having an extramarital affair, which is why he gets cursed. And we needed a reason for it. So in a story meeting, I tell Dave, we need a reason for this. Okay. I get a draft back like 2 days later, and I'm reading it and I'm like, what the actual fuck, Dave? So there's two things. First of all, the thing that they have as a marital problem, it's not like wandering eyes or why don't you ever take the trash out or any of the things that a normal couple would have. It was that one of them, I think it was the husband, walked downstairs and there was a dead baby in the crib. Okay, which is like a pretty...
Was it at least his baby?
Yes.
It was his baby.
Or like the cat brought it in.
If I had $1 for every dead baby the cat brought me, holy shit.
So
Just
I already
pieces.
feel like that's already a nuclear option. Like, you don't need a dead baby to have conflict in your marriage.
But it helps. I mean, you can't deny that.
That's like seeing a roach and then burning your house down.
I do that for spiders.
So that was already bad. But then it was like the punchline was that it just happened to be on Christmas. And there's no reason for this. It's not like it was a Christmas story. This was a flashback. It could have been at any time in there.
It was a Christmas miracle.
It was, he walks down on Christmas morning and the infant is dead in the crib. And I was just like, who is my writing partner? And what is wrong? Dave, can you show us on the doll where you were touched? I just need to know what happened to you and when it happened. Yes, that's exactly where.
We need a new doll.
So,
okay. Well, I feel like we just did Sean something cool.
Yeah, that was Sean something cool.
That could be my something cool.
Do you have a something cool, either of you?
Yeah, I mean, Sean kind of poked me into mine, and I was like, well, I don't have anything else, so sure, that makes for a pretty... And it is pretty cool, to be fair. This is one selfish. This is like, it's not ballroom dancing in the living room sort of like thing, but it is all about me, as is everything.
I feel like that one's going to follow me around for a while.
Yeah, it's... Well, that, and I mean, the think tank at least went away. We don't talk about that anymore.
Thanks for reminding me.
Think tank
Yeah.
daily.
Well, I was being sarcastic anyway. That didn't go anywhere. But for I mean, I haven't written much for the past few years, and it's just been a sequence of, I don't know, unfortunate events, sort of, or other priorities or whatever. And so at the end of last year, I was like, okay, well, I really, really need to get back to it. And Sean and I were going to start Unicorn Heathens. And I think this is the sequence of events because I don't even remember it. And so I carved out, I was like, I can dedicate 2 hours, which, I mean, I'm a full-time writer, so 2 hours for me is not a big chunk of time, but I was like, I can carve out 2 hours, and I used to spend 4 or 5, and it just kind of stayed that way. It was like, well, I'll get back on my feet, I'll just kind of, and it's been that way. And it was like last night, as I was...
Dave just went dark. Do you think he's plotting dead babies right now?
Probably. As I was like kind of trying to fall asleep, this is when my mind is most active, when I'm trying to fall asleep. It's great. I was like, I wonder why, like, why I could just write the whole morning. Like, why wouldn't I do that? And then I realized, well, I could just do that every day. Like, why would I not do that? And it was this weird epiphany moment where I forgot.
I'm curious why that's such a big revelation.
No, that is the real story. The deciding to like spend more time writing is not the actual story. The story is, why the fuck was it a revelation? And I was trying to think, and I was like, I don't really know. The only thing I can think is that during that busy period, because I did have a super busy period last year, I probably set this up and then just was on autopilot, because now we're recording this on March 11th. So it's been a while, right? It's been a minute since last year. And that's the only thing I can think of, because I had been thinking of it as something I could fit in. And I'm like, dude, that's the primary thing I should be doing. Now I'm doing a lot of other shit too, like rebuilding parts of the business that take a lot of time and effort, but not enough that I can't spend the first half of the day writing like I used to. So that was like, today I just kind of was like, well, I guess I'm back in that mode, and wondering why I was ever not in that mode. So there you go.
Yeah, and I love that too, because if Johnny doesn't have rhythm, then the project doesn't have rhythm. And so finding my space in it, and like when do I catch up on story, and when do I write new beats, and like if we have rhythm together, we'll get to the finish line. So I was pretty. Do you mind if I read this text, because it just delighted me?
Yeah, sure, but it's I still don't have rhythm, because the other piece of this is that I've been traveling so much. Like I've literally had one weekend where I haven't been traveling since January, and it's not going to stop. Like I have another month.
Traveling's
of this.
hard. Like I used to try
and
to
not
write
just
while I
travel on the
travel.
weekends or for a day. Like it's cannibalizing weekdays. Like I'm having 3 and 4 day work weeks over and over and over and over again, and then traveling, so I have no weekend.
Do you write at all when you travel?
No, I gave up on that a long time ago.
Yeah, I can't do it anymore. So here's the text. I've officially stopped fucking around and acting like writing new words is some sort of a sideline project, which I no longer remember why I was doing in the first place, unless it was a holdover from when I was super busy with the artist and author class or something. Starting today, although I'm getting a late start today, so maybe starting tomorrow is more accurate.
Spoiler on that one.
I'm going back to writing all morning whenever I can. I have officially set a deadline of May 15th for the entire draft. It's on, bitch. So I love that, because now there's a deadline, right?
And the draft, to be clear, is 250,000 words. It's not a short book.
Yeah, and knowing Johnny, it'll be 300.
Yeah,
we'll get to the end. It'll be unspooled a little bit. We'll have a whole bunch of like story threads to clean up. They'll all get cleaned up, and he'll do it on a couple like long ass marathon. I said May 15th. It's going to be May 15th. And then he'll have a couple of days where he makes cheese. For those of you who don't know, making cheese is writing 10,000 words a day.
I forgot about that.
So yeah, that was a very something cool for both of us, because I'm really excited to have a deadline on that. And I'm excited to have some like feeling of, it's not that we didn't have momentum, because we did have momentum, but it's a little bit like, you know, like when you can see your destination, like right there, that's the restaurant I'm going to, but like you're hitting every red light, or like you go and then the traffic just stops or something. So you can't really like gauge your time. It's just kind of like stopping and going. I feel like that's what it's been a little bit, even though the story is good, the words are good, the relationship is good, the flow is just has been waiting, and it's on, bitch. May 15th felt like a call, you know.
Still some shit to overcome, because it's been like, what, Dallas, Houston, Boston, Colorado Springs, Columbus, Kansas City twice, and then there's some I'm forgetting. It's just constant.
Are those all cities where Dave killed babies?
No killing babies. I guess I can relinquish the floor, though, because I forgot that the killing babies also took up a large portion of the show, and we should probably record some show. So I will step back.
My something cool is a movie called Caddo Lake. It's on HBO.
Wait, what's it called?
Caddo, Caddo Lake.
I haven't heard of it.
It reminds me a little bit of that Triangle movie we watched.
Oh yeah, love that movie.
It's
I love that too.
It's a time loop movie. It's about a girl that disappears, and
I do know what this is. Yeah.
I loved it. It's a smaller movie, but it is trippy as fuck, and I don't want to see anything else. Just go watch it.
Produced by M. Night Shyamalan, as long as they didn't let him direct it.
Was it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Produced. No, he didn't touch the script or anything like that.
Directed by Celine Held and Logan George.
Yeah, definitely check it out if you like trippy movies where you're just like, what the fuck?
I do like trippy movies.
I do like trippy movies where I'm like, what the fuck, as long as they amount to something in the end.
It does. It all ties together. It's not like I Saw the Devil or whatever.
So what? Well, I don't want to call that trippy. What accounts to what amounts to not coming to something? So I'm thinking of like Mulholland Drive is super trippy, and a lot of people would be like, way too fucking trippy. But I think that does have a lot of meat to it. I actually really like that movie.
Yeah, I like Mulholland Drive a lot, actually.
I've actually never seen that one.
It's trippy.
It's trippy. Like it's definitely trippy. There's also something about it. I've seen it maybe 4 times, and 3 of them I fell asleep at some point during the movie.
It's
It's
longer
just
than it
something
needs to
about it,
be.
it makes me sleepy. But like, I simultaneously it makes me
Just like you're out.
Yes, Dave.
Oh,
That
I
is
actually though that's like because it's David Lynch, and Lynch has he likes that phone sort of thing, like Twin Peaks, and I can see that putting you to sleep.
but maybe it is the jazzy sax. But, yeah, I do like a movie that's really, like, weirdly confusing, and then it's just not. Like, everything just the threads come together, and I think that that's rewarding, but sometimes there's movies that are just weird for the sake of weird. In fact, I thought that Twin Peaks, when he did that Twin Peaks reboot on Showtime a few years back, I thought that was, like, unwatchable. I couldn't watch it at all.
no,
Did anyone else
this
see
all
that?
makes sense. It's not an easily guessed movie, but yeah, I think it's very enjoyable.
I will check that out.
All right, so today we're talking about, getting your fans, 1,000 true fans, and I'll let Sean talk about this a little bit more since he's the first person I heard about this from. Uh, Kevin Kelly's 2008 essay, 1,000 True Fans, which then became a book. And it talks about how you don't need a million fans, although it is nice, I suppose. You just need 1,000 dedicated fans to support you as an artist.
Well, so Kevin Kelly was a writer, I believe, for Wired
Yeah, he
at the
was the
time.
founding editor of Wired.
And the idea was, hey, the nature of content is changing because I think he's the first person in this article where I ever heard the term long tail. And you would have a graph and say, well, the long tail is in, you have like these big spikes. There's a launch, or like a big band will come out with a record, a CD at the time. And there's those big numbers, but down here on the graph is the long tail. And that's where, way after a release, true fans will still pick up albums, and that there's a lot of value in the long tail. And that if you had 1,000 fans that, they're the ones who go see you on tour and will buy the t-shirts and all of this, that they're the true fans, that 1,000 true fans in kind of any medium is enough to build a sustainable career. Now, it's the philosophy. I mean, don't get hung up on the number 1,000. That's not the point. The point is that you don't need big, massive audiences. Another example that maybe is more relative to a lot of us, for those of you who don't know Andre Chaperone, which is, like, I think the first person out there, the first creator that Johnny and I ever bonded over was Andre Chaperone. And he
Yeah,
was
is
an
that even
email
a
marketer.
name? I know somebody who doesn't know who he is. Anyway,
He was or he is still an email marketer, and he really resonated hard with me when I came across his work. And I want to say it was 2010. And the reason he resonated so hard was because he talked about story. He talked about writing emails that had SOPs, is what he called them, soap opera sequences, and a lot of open loops. And so, like, as a
SOS.
storyteller, what'd you say, Johnny?
SOS. SOP is standard operating procedure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Soap opera sequences, that's right, SOSs. So I love that as a storyteller. I loved, oh, you're framing all of your marketing in storytelling language, which I loved. But his other big argument was that you don't need a big list to make a lot of money. And this was really counter to a lot of, like, I was doing ghostwriting and consulting at the time, and a lot of people in the space would have like it was the opposite. It was, I have a list of 250,000 people, and I'm going to send an email every single day about anything that might even remotely capture their interest, because I just want to get clicks, and even 0.01% conversion is still money. Andre would say, well, I have 100 people on my list, and I'm making more money than the people with 250,000 people, because I only send stuff that they care about, and when I have a real offer, they show up. And I think that that's just an amazing way to go about it. And so, I think as creators, as authors, as storytellers, it's way more important, especially in a world of AI where story is no longer the secret sauce here, you guys. It's personality. It's how much of yourself you can put into the work. And so the idea of 1,000 true fans, I think, is more important and more relevant even now than it was in 2008.
So, how do we start? How do you connect with your audience? Now, when I started thinking about this episode, I was thinking of our own journey We have a mailing list, but we let it, kind of go fallow or whatever. We had a lot of shit going on, and then we had like, a hellish 2 years. I wasn't in the headspace to really, email people and like, man, like everything's great. So like that kind of just slid off. So now we're kind of in the process of rebuilding our own fiction list, not our nonfiction list.
Well, we're actually in the process of rebuilding both lists. I mean, we've done a shitty job across the board.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah. All right.
yeah, no, like we dropped off. We completely ignored all of our lists and just didn't really do a good job at that. And so it's there is rebuilding to do, but the good news is you can always do that rebuilding. If you had any list whatsoever, it makes a difference. So like this list, if you're listening to this, there's at least a decent chance you're on our Smarter Artist list. And, we didn't do a very good job with that list for many years. And now, but the open rates are still surprisingly high. People still care. People still pay attention. And so now we have not the audience that we used to have. It's not that engaged, but it's engaged. And so it's like, okay, well, how do we engage it more? How do we create more and more and more value? Which is, a conversation that Dave and I have been having a lot lately is, how do we make this podcast and all the surrounding activities around it like super, super, super valuable. So if you're listening to this, you feel like you can't miss an episode or you can't miss an episode of the email. And we're not there yet. Like the emails that we've been sending out are basically show notes, and that's not good enough. So we know we need to do a better job. And so we're strategizing on how to do a better job. But that's true for any list. If you write thrillers, then you need to speak to your audience. What is it that they want as thriller readers? Johnny has a more unique problem because he has all the genres, right? He has all the genres. So he has to speak to a reader who it really is about his personality. He's taking the 1,000 True Fans to its extreme, right? Like these are people who love Johnny as a storyteller.
Which I
That's
think
what
is
they
more
have in common.
robust, honestly. I'd rather have it.
Right. But that this isn't a question of better or worse. It's identify who your audience is so that you can speak to them as precisely as possible, because the better you can speak to your audience, the more straightforward your path is going to be to getting to that 1,000 True Fans.
We're talking about the difference, essentially, just in case anybody's not totally engaged on this. I think the simplest way to think of it is having a lot of people and potentially even a lot of buyers who like you or like your books versus having a smaller number of buyers and fans who love you or your books. And that may sound in the short term like whatever. And in my mind, that's what the industry has been chasing for too long. Just my opinion. Other people's will differ. But that is kind of the more and faster model. But I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old. I don't know. But it's like the more I get into this, the more I think like I don't think there's a lot of longevity in that. You don't see a lot of people who sustain a lot of high churn, high volume, but low engagement people.
No, it leads to burnout. And if you're not somebody's favorite, even if you create enjoyable content, it is more disposable. And it means that, you just don't have that equity with the consumer. So I know I've talked about this a bunch of times on the podcast already, because I think that Apple TV, of all the streamers, is trying the hardest to build that relationship with their viewership now, right? So if you take, I think 2 of the most original shows in the last several years have been on Apple TV. Severance and Pluribus are both just really engaged. Like the people who like those shows love those shows. And it's not the kind of thing that you would see on Netflix, for example, either one of those. And I think that like I have a relationship with Apple TV now where if they put something out, I'm going to give it a chance. There's a lot of content out there. So there's a better likelihood that I'm going to give it a chance than something that I just saw, on Netflix. For example, at the time that we're recording this, like Johnny said, he said March 11th. I prefer 3/11, to honor Dave's favorite band. So
Not even
I
close.
was just thinking about 311 weirdly.
Dave doesn't really like 311 that I know of. But Cindy and I just finished this show that was brand new, and it's called Vladimir, and it's on Netflix. And it's one of those, Dave, that seemed all over the place. And I'm like, I hope this amounts to something at the end. Spoiler alert, it doesn't really. It's a couple episodes too long. I think it's confused about its own perspective. An unreliable narrator that doesn't in any way exploit the premise of being an unreliable narrator. And so I've left disappointed. And my thought, as we're like, well, that was a show, as I'm turning it off, I'm thinking, man, if Apple TV had that exact same premise, the things that they would have done with it would have been special. And that's how you want your audience to feel. Like, oh man, if Johnny had written this book instead of, creator B, over here, it would have been so much better. It would have been so amazing. And Johnny and I used to do, when we wrote together all the time, we would look at other premises and think, how would we handle that? How would we have done that? And we definitely had a Realm and Sands style. If somebody thinks, how would Realm and Sands handle that? Dave, you have a very strong signature to the stories you tell. We started out as a joke, but you are the creator who will kill a baby on Christmas to put their reader through, the ringer. And readers who love that feeling of like dread and sorrow, they come back for more, right? Because you're consistent as a storyteller. And I know that we bust on you, but that's a virtue, And so you want to have a perspective. You want to be loud and proud about who you are as a creator. I think that that's really, really important right now. And it's, again, it's not about 1,000 true fans. I know that's the hook, and that's the name of the episode, but it is about cultivating an audience of diehard fans who will follow you wherever you go.
Into the mouths of hell.
I think that so what you're describing
Wait.
with
Hold on, pause. I just need to go get batteries to replace. So you guys continue talking, and I will be right back.
Okay.
Is this part on? Do you think are we supposed to continue the podcast? Because he stopped me.
I think so.
I don't. Okay. So he's got to go get batteries. Is he using a vibrator under the table there? Do you think that's what's going on?
When he comes back, listen very, very carefully for the buzz. Yeah. Also, Dave, don't edit this part out.
I know this is the juice. This is what you really want. This is what everybody's signing up for.
Content. In fact,
a
we
bunch
should
of
edit
podcasts.
Everything else out and just leave this. This is the episode.
This is the episode, right? My favorite podcasts aren't actually about anything. They're just rambling, because I get self-conscious when we go off the rails, but those are the parts that I enjoy in other shows. So fuck it.
Me too. All right, Dave's back.
We weren't sure if we were supposed to stop or not, because you said keep going, but I was like, are we just talking to each other, or are we continuing the show? So you've got a bunch of shit there to either cut out or leave, because it's probably comedic gold.
Shit's still not working.
Or should I spill juice all over myself?
Hold on.
Wish I had it.
Now I feel like you have to leave it. All right, what isn't working, Dave?
My fucking mouse died, and I'm trying to replace the batteries, but I only have one battery.
Well, the fact that you told us you were leaving made us think, well, we shouldn't just continue with the podcast. Whereas if you just silently disappeared and come back, we never would have.
Yeah, because you silently disappear all the time. All right.
So just let me know when we should resume.
Let's try to get this, let's get this pony back on the trail.
So should I resume talking in podcast terms or no?
Yeah.
Okay. The thing about the Apple argument, and I get this, it feels like something, it feels like something that would be in a story, a parable about the right choice or the wrong choice, but the one is more tempting, is the model of we're going to spend a lot more money, we're going to spend a lot more time, we're going to give shows room to breathe, we're going to take chances. Sounds great when it pays off and you become known for that, and you build, because I don't know if you guys know this, but Apple, they've managed to pull it out. They aren't struggling. That little scrappy company manages to make a small bit of money. So you can't think Apple, they're taking a risk, but it is a risk. And if you were a startup, it would be real easy to be we need to go for the big numbers of Netflix. We need to chase immediate profit. We need to cut losers right away. And so that argument of we're going to go for value, but a smaller number and a smaller, slower startup. And it's just like, I feel like in this world of intense like profit consciousness, it's harder and harder to make that argument. But I think that for creators, it's going to be do or die, because I'm just scratching an itch sort of thing. Like, I am providing you a disposable thing. That shit'll be handled by AI, right?
Totally. Yeah. Kevin Kelly's sequel to 1000 True Fans is an audience of one, right? And you can create content that is, I like this kind of content, make this kind of content for me. Like, that day is coming. But if you look at what Apple did, yeah, they could have been numbers driven. And I know they're $1 trillion company, so the risk wasn't the same. I get that. But if you look at their counterpart, Amazon, like, Amazon's a massive company and they create content for Prime, and they're definitely more algorithmically driven. They're definitely more, they're not curating to that small diehard, we want people to love our content, right? And I think that there's so much value as content becomes more and more and more disposable, treating it like the precious thing that it is, like something that you would tell your friends about. So I'm talking about Vladimir now as an example of what not to do. And the funny thing is, at any point, I could point to something recent that I watched on Netflix and say, like, oh yeah, this is an example of something that was disposable content. Like, I'll never watch it again. Oh, but there's at a point in the future where I'll watch Pluribus again. Like, I know it's only on season 1, but okay, when season 2 of Severance came out, I watched season 1 again, like right before season 2 came out, even though I'd just seen it a couple years before. Why? Because it was exceptional television. And I've told a lot of people about Severance. I was on a bus going to a baseball game a couple years ago. It doesn't matter. And somebody was like, you're in Story. What's a show I would absolutely have to watch? And like, without even missing a beat, I was like, Severance, you've got to see Severance. And then I saw the same person at an event following year, and they were like, oh my God, Severance was so great. And I think that's where you get the 1,000 true fans. And I know that Apple's not looking for its 1,000 true fans, but the principle is you create stuff that people have to tell other people about.
I just don't think we're going to have a choice going forward. I just don't. Like, if generative AI hadn't come up and become the juggernaut that it is, like, you used to be able to make a living going in and being pulp and just creating, and it was great. Like, somebody had to do that work. But now I just don't think it's enough. I mean, honestly, more and more I'm coming around to this like slow evolution towards something that feels very vindicating, because this is the way I've always felt, and just out of sheer stubbornness behaved this way and gotten some pushback on it. But now I kind of feel like neener, because I feel like this is the only way to survive. The extreme way to say it, and this is admittedly at one end of the spectrum, is I just kind of feel like, at least, here, let me put it this way. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to unapologetically make whatever the fuck I want. I'm the audience of one. I want to make something that I love. And then when I'm done, I'm going to see if I can sell it. And if I can't sell it long enough, then maybe I'll reevaluate. But like, it more and more purely, it's going to be, I create things for me that are the purest version of the artistic expression that I want to make. And if people are into that, then I think that that's the unique selling point at this point in history.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I love that you're saying it, you've been stubborn from the beginning, and this is kind of coming full circle, because that's true. And if you look at we're not really doing things differently than we were. I mean, we are doing them differently. There is evolution there, but our core principles have actually not changed in 13 years, 14 years that we've been doing this. If you look at the main series that we're both working on. So Dave and I just finished Mauricio's Gone, and Johnny and I are working on Unicorn Heathens. So a sequel to the first thing that we wrote together, me and Johnny, and a sequel to the first thing that Dave and I wrote together. And I know that Available Darkness was there, but the first thing that was like our commercial, like, we're going to try this on Kindle, that was Yesterday's Gone. And if you look at both of those franchises, they're definitely in the way that I'm thinking now, which is, hey, we have this IP, how do we expand it? Like, I'm very much in that mode of, I don't want to create totally new things, even though I want to create new things. I also want to make them appendages onto what we already have, and think in terms of universes, even if it's not a shared universe. Me as the creator, has a universe that I want to invite people into. And both Mauricio's Gone and Unicorn Heathens are stories that could have only come from the creators. They're not generative stories. They're like, Mauricio has a very specific personality, a very specific way of articulating. And the unicorn stuff is like, I mean, there's no world where that doesn't come from me and Johnny. It's like,
well, before somebody says that AI could do that and could copy it and could mimic it, and you could say come up with a crazy unicorn premise.
Mauricio bot.
Well, maybe, right? And maybe there's even a time where it could come up with it de novo and not just be mimicking. But my argument is much more, and I admit that this is an extreme version of this, and I know this isn't everybody's cup of tea, is the fact that it came from the person is what I think my true fans are buying. They're getting the product, but the product is a proxy for artistic expression and a connection to a human being. That's why exactly. I think that I'm trying to get true fans of me. That's why I said earlier that I feel like it's more robust.
Yeah, even if there was a Mauricio bot, and I do agree that, I mean, AI is just pattern recognition, and it's getting better and better and better at mimicking patterns. So could it read all of Unicorn Western and take the, okay, so there's 1883 is like my favorite Western probably ever. I just love that limited series. It's in the Yellowstone world. It's Taylor Sheridan, and it's this coming of age Oregon Trail story. Could an AI take Unicorn Western and see how Johnny and I interpreted and deconstructed old Westerns and map those characters and that personality onto an 1883 and create a serviceable version of what we do? Probably. But I don't think it's ever going to have that connection that people can feel. I think the fact that we can be on this podcast having a conversation about Unicorn Heathens is going to make some people in the future want to experience that book, because by proxy, they're experiencing the chemistry that Johnny and I have when we create something. And so I think that is tangible, and I think that it's invisible, but it's felt. I think that is, and even if the robot can copy it wholesale, I still think people want to feel the connection. I think that they want to, like, I know that Sean and Johnny wrote this together, and so I want to experience that. I know that Sean and Dave wrote Mauricio, and I used to read Mauricio when he was just in Yesterday's Gone, and I want to experience him in this new context because, I like that character. I like hearing Dave and Sean talk about it. So I always think that the connection is valuable, but I don't think that the robots being able to mimic us is making it less valuable. I think it's more valuable, and it makes other content certainly more abundant, but abundance can also equal disposable.
I remember when people would read Mauricio to their kids before bedtime.
Are you still working on that children's Mauricio book?
We'll see. Dead Babies at Christmas, Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. So I had a question to Johnny, because Johnny, well, I don't think any of us are really on social media anymore, but I used to be. Sean, I think, kind of was, dipped his toes in the water. Johnny hates it.
Barely. I pretty much always hated it.
So how did you go about, like, starting to meet people in person? I mean, you hate people.
No, I don't hate people. I actually don't hate people.
Okay.
You just want them off your lawn.
No, I don't hate people. I actually have a really, and this is like, everything I just feel this need to say this every once in a while. Every single thing we say on this show is just us sharing our experience. Do not fucking construe it as advice. Like, I hate that.
He's not a lawyer.
I don't hate giving advice, and I don't hate when people ask for my advice, but I hate the accidental advice that happened throughout most of our career doing that. So I have this like extrovert side to me, and I noticed that it was there when COVID hit and I wasn't seeing people as often. And when I got
that was my best time ever.
Oh, I'm sure. And like,
that was the Davisons.
When I was able to like just write and not have to do a lot of other stuff. And I was like, well, wait a minute, something's missing. So when I first tried this, which I only tried it because I did Author Nation, it was actually, was it the first? I think it was the first Author Nation. Yeah, that's what it was. And it was like, because it was a speaker that gave me a free table to sell books. And I was like, I'm going to be there anyway. Might as well. and I was intimidated by it. But then I found that it scratched that itch, right? Like that idea and I got to talk to people about my books, and then people would respond and buy, and it was very validating, and it did a lot of things. And then I was like, let me do more of that. And so that natural enjoyment of that, which is why I'm saying don't take it as advice, because if you don't enjoy it, then don't do it. Like, that's ridiculous. I don't enjoy social media. Some people enjoy social media. I was listening to the Book Funnel podcast when Sasha Black was on, and I really like Sasha. She was talking about, she got roped into doing, like, is it TikTok? I think it's TikTok, and has blown up. Well, she's just on TikTok herself. And she was like, I didn't think I would like this, but I really do. Like, it really suits her. So you have to find something that you enjoy. I enjoy this. And so people enjoy meeting me, and it's an immediate connection. And it's like I start halfway down the true fan spectrum rather than starting with cold traffic who sees an ad. They're starting meeting me, getting like a signed book and having an interaction. So for me, that's been kind of a special sauce, and it feels so much more genuine and non-stupid and non-bullshitty version of like social media. Social media, when it's genuine, like back in the day when Twitter was new, I loved Twitter. When you could connect with people randomly and there wasn't all this spammy shit and people weren't all up each other's butts about their opinions, that was great. But then it became corporatized and commoditized and polarized and algorithmatized and everything. Social, like direct social interaction, doesn't have that. So I think it's the same thing, but better for me.
I think the really important thing that Johnny is saying now, and I mean, he is beating this drum rather consistently, is that you have to do what is right for you. And I think that, especially if you're talking about cultivating your 1,000 true fans, I don't think you can get there by playing to the wider world, because it's not sustainable. All three of us at different points and overlapping times have tried to cater to a wider audience, have tried to play a broader game, and it's never
We just call
worked.
that selling out. You're being kind.
But it's never worked. None of us have successfully sold out. We've all been successful by being completely us in any given context. When we're most successful, it's because we're doing the thing that lights us up. Because doing the thing that lights you up is not only going to connect with someone on a deeper level, because they're gonna, like, they relate to that. They're like, oh, this thing that makes you special is what I'm interested in. But also, that's more sustainable because you're not wearing somebody else's skin. You're when you're comfortable in your, well, okay,
You're not.
okay. I think, well, what makes Dave special is wearing someone else's skin, but that's a different
I
context.
call it Tuesdays.
The point is, it's very difficult to maintain artifice. And so if you're like, there's not anything inherently wrong with writing to market. If your version of writing to market is finding something that lights you up that the market also wants. But if you're always just looking for the big opportunity, like, okay, here's a genre that's hot right now. I'm a storyteller. I can write in that genre. That doesn't mean you can't have success doing it that way. You absolutely can. But I think it's a lot harder than it used to be. And I think it's going to be a lot harder next year than it is now, even. And I don't think you're getting 1,000 true fans that way. I think that you're always looking for water in the desert instead of just digging a hole. Dig a well, reach water, and then make camp.
Can I hear more about Dave wearing people's skin? Is that how you find your 1,000 true fans? You wear their skin.
Yeah. Well, I ask everybody that wants to be like, in the Dave fan club to send a photo of their face so I can see their complexion and I can figure out if their skin will be a good match.
Dave makes a quilt out of his fans.
So going back to the very, very basics, a newsletter is the most important thing I think that people should be implementing in order to create their fan base. How do people do it? A, before they have a book, or B, during long stretches where they have no book? How do they consistently email rather than just, disappearing for months at a time and then, hey, remember me? I got a book out.
I think you want to keep your audience engaged. And I think that you want to, again, be specific to who your audience is. So we just had like another big fail in our email marketing. Yeah. We were thinking in terms of a publisher instead of like single lists. So instead of speaking to, a thriller reader or a romance reader or a fantasy reader, we were speaking in general to readers, and we sent out the wrong emails with the wrong messaging. And you can see the results. Like, is this moving content? No. Are there higher than there should be unsubscribes? Yes. That's not a good email, right? But like, look at how your audience is responding to something, and then learn from it. And we learned. We sent 2 emails out. They're like, these are not working. This is not connecting. So let's regroup. Let's think about the right way to do this. And I think that the more specific that you can be, the better, and the more that you can differentiate yourself, the better. So I think that there's all kinds of ways that, like, let's even take the word funnel out of it.
Can we leave fisting in there?
Yes, we can. So you already have readers, that are paying attention to your work, and you want to keep them engaged, because you shouldn't be one of those authors, and we've been guilty of this too. You shouldn't be one of those authors that's only emailing when you have something new, when you have something to buy.
Hey,
right?
baby, you up?
You want to keep your audience warm by truly engaging with them. So that could be just stories. Hey, I figured out this character thing, this week. Johnny can speak to this because Johnny very regularly emails his list, and he hasn't had a new product in a long, long time, but he's keeping stuff fresh. He's keeping the conversation open. And I think that you can do that with like apps, world maps, little side quests, little anything. We had something recently that was going to go out as we have this box set, and the idea was to do like a 30 email sequence that somebody came in, and it was like a diary for 30 days. And each email was like designed to get you to, click up to the box set. And Danny, who is our optimization guy, he was like, this isn't a good idea. Who's going to read these 30 emails? Is this really going to work? And what I love about Danny is that he's not a book person. He's not a story person at all. He is a numbers guy. He's an optimization guy. So he comes into, a big group of storytellers and is just like willing to kill all the sacred cows, right? And so that was a really good question. And then Jen was like, oh, well, why don't we just put this all into one little like diary, and then that's something that we could just give these readers who will. It's not that the content wasn't good, it's that the email marketing part of it was not as direct as Danny thought it should be, and Danny was right. And so, but we took that content and still made something really cool for the reader. And so I think that asking the question, what can I do that's really special? And I know we're getting into the AI conversation again, this will, but
You are. I wasn't.
I don't think there's any escaping the AI conversation.
yeah, exactly. But here's a thing where you don't have to use AI to write your books, but maybe use AI to create a map for your world, or even I haven't even played around with this, but I know that Google has that like world thing where you can like create a world where you can like explore this world, and it generates in real time. If you have a really cool world out there that if you write fantasy and you can describe your world and send a link to your readers to like walk around in this world that they've just read about, like think what if I was like Johnny just said, he wants to create things that he would love. Right. And so he's his biggest fan. And so what could he create that he would really enjoy? And maybe, Johnny is such a pure prose guy. Maybe that is just different versions of prose or a short story in the same world or something. But think about what you would connect with, because your true fans aren't that far away from what you would connect with.
Just say, remember that your true fans, maybe this makes me overly commercial, but I don't just want fans. I want fans who actually buy shit. And I think there's a tendency on the part of
but that's the definition of a true fan, is someone who will follow you.
Yes, but I feel like there's a connection, a translation error there to a lot of authors, because although I would agree with you 100%, I don't think it's the way a lot of authors behave. I think a lot of authors behave like, I'm just going to keep telling you about my shit. And in my opinion anyway, like walking that line of delivering good stuff and that's interesting and that's backstory and that it isn't purely commercial, but keeping a pulse on the fact that you are still trying to sell things at full price and not just as cheap as possible is, I don't know, like I'm still in the middle of that quagmire. And you're right, I haven't had anything new in a long time, and I do still talk to my people, and it's been like stories behind the stories and remembering the idea that the story that you haven't seen yet is new to you. So like, even though I haven't produced anything new, I've got over 100 stories to tell people about, some of which never really got good airtime. So I've been kind of balancing that, like trying to reward the true fans and give them cool stuff while still being a business and reminding people that, like, yeah, I got shit for sale. So that's an interesting fine line that's maybe too nuanced to go into, but yeah.
No, I agree with that, Johnny. I think that you need to remind people that this is my living. You know, I'm a storyteller, and this is how I pay my bills. And I think that goes into thinking in terms of IP. So IP is how do I connect the different parts of all of my assets together? And so if you're like, hey, I'm giving you this short story, but it's relevant to this other larger story, that if you like this, you will love this other piece. So buy it. And it's not that that's more nuanced, but it's a much deeper, bigger conversation that deserves its own episode. But I think connecting your different assets together in that way and drawing roads for your audience that makes it easy for them to consume stuff without feeling overwhelmed. Because I think curation is another big thing. You know, there's so much content out there, and I think sometimes our true fans just want us to kind of take them by the hand and show them where to go.
100%. They don't know what books they should read in order, or what's the best, or it's like if you have a lot of books. I mean, I've been forced into this thought a lot recently because I pay all of my attention to direct now. I don't give a fuck about Amazon or Drafted Digital. My books are there, but I pay zero attention to it. So it's like I have to think this way if I'm going to survive. But I think it's an interesting exercise. I think it's worth exploring.
All right. Well, on that note, I just want to throw out there real quick for fantasy people. There's a website called Inkarnate. It's INKARNATE, and they have very easy to use map making software, and they have a free and a paid version. You have to upgrade to the paid. It's like a membership or whatever, but it's really easy to make a map that looks pretty. So you don't have to do AI. You can actually make the thing that's in your head the way you want it. So.
Oh, that's cool. Dave, how does
you just draw with a thing with your mouse, your cursor? It's
what if like, okay, so I have no like motor skills in that way. I can imagine what I want to see, which is why I love visual AI, because I can describe it. But if I actually have to draw it, I'm like a monkey with a pencil. So like, what if you?
How good is it at interpreting your chicken scratch, I think is the question.
Yeah, right. Is it like one of those things where you can draw a little bit and it neatens it up for you, or is it actually your motion?
It's so you use a brush to paint a landmass, then you can add mountains and other stuff onto it. It's all like pre-rendered stuff, but you're creating the shape and the colors and all of that. There's a ton of customization. I'm not going to use it for mine. I used it for just like kind of to get a feel for what I want. I'm going to hand draw my map because I'm an artist, and I want to, but you don't need to. There's a lot of, I see obviously people use Inkarnate in their books, a lot of fantasy books, like they have a very unique look to them, and you can tell when someone's using it, but it looks good. So
that's cool.
That's a better note to end on than I don't give a fuck.
Good job, Dave.
All right. Well,
Dave providing that ray of sunshine we count on him for.
Yes. The ray of sunshine, it only makes a dead babies all the better.
It's like instead of a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, it's a dead baby.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. See you next time. Okay. Now I have to find a fucking battery because I cannot stop this podcast.
They chase the spark, we own the dark. They feed the scroll while we leave a mark. No tricks, no hacks, just the code they lack. Yeah. We stay on the rails while they fall off the track. Smarter artists never die. Yeah. We don't lay stone for spectacle, don't frame for applause. We build the boring way with discipline and pause. They expect the penthouse view before the footing is set. A crown without calluses, a win without sweat. The craft is in the mortar, not the hunger for more. Not the facade that cracks with a hollowed out core. You want the trick, it's tedious, it's thankless, it's true. Show up with intention till the structure starts showing you. They go fast, we go far. They Paper planes versus iron bars. They chase spikes, we stack days. We build the house that never fades. Let them run, let them fly. Smarter artists never die. Yeah. They chase vanity metrics that die at the peak. We pour the slow foundations while they sprint for the streak. We don't rent our attention to whatever blows through. We're setting corner posts for storms they never knew. We're not racing to the ribbon, we're widening the base. Let the footing fully cure before the frame locks in place. Every draft's another course, every session's a beam. We're not chasing momentum, we're constructing the dream. They go fast, we go far. Paper planes versus iron bars. They chase spikes, we stack days. We build the house that never fades. Let them run, let them fly. Smarter artists never die. They'll throw parades while you're still setting the forms. Pop champagne and glass towers while you're bracing for storms. Some nights you wonder if the blueprint's a lie, if the long game's just patience that forgot how to fly. But scars become load-bearing when the structure survives. When the fast builds crack open and the slow ones stay alive. We don't ask for permission, we don't wait to be seen. We're drafting our futures in the quiet in between. They go fast, we go far. Paper planes versus iron bars. They chase spikes, we stack